Deep in the northern wilderness, a master engineer is at work, capable of transforming entire landscapes without a single blueprint.
Before the engineer arrives, this river flows freely, a fast-moving channel that supports only specific types of life.
The North American beaver arrives with a singular purpose: to slow this water down and build a fortress.
Awkward on land, but graceful in water, the beaver seeks safety by creating a deep water environment.
Their primary tools are these iron-rich orange incisors, which never stop growing and self-sharpen with every bite.
Instinct guides them to the perfect construction site, usually a choke point where the water is shallow and the sound of trickling water is loud. Softwoods like aspen, willow, and birch are preferred, serving as both construction material and a food source.
The work begins with powerful bites, stripping away bark and cutting into the heartwood with rhythmic precision. Hour after hour, the beaver gnaws around the trunk, weakening the structure until gravity takes over.
With a loud crack, the tree falls, providing a massive supply of building material for the ambitious project ahead.
The instinct for efficiency kicks in immediately. Smaller branches are easier to transport and perfect for weaving. Hauling timber over land is dangerous and exhausting, motivating the beaver to flood the area for easier transport.
Once in the water, the heavy load becomes weightless, allowing the beaver to guide it effortlessly downstream.
The dam begins not on the surface, but deep in the mud, where anchor branches are driven in to resist the flow. To prevent the wood from floating away, stones and heavy debris are piled on top, weighing down the base. It is not a solid wall, but a woven mesh, designed to catch floating debris and slowly build resistance.
Beavers are visually poor but acoustically brilliant. The sound of running water triggers an immediate urge to patch the leak.
Nature's mortar is mud, scooped from the river bottom and carried to the dam to seal the gaps between sticks. This layer of mud waterproofs the face of the dam, forcing the water level to rise behind the structure.
As the dam grows, the river widens, slowing down and spreading out into the adjacent forest.
The curve is no accident. Arching the dam upstream transfers the water's pressure into the banks, just like human engineering.
Beavers are primarily nocturnal, conducting their most heavy-duty construction under the cover of darkness.
A warning signal echoes across the pond. The tail flap alerts family members of a potential predator nearby.
Engineering is a family trade, passed down by observation, as the kits help maintain the fortress.
To reach distant trees safely, they dig canals, extending their aquatic highway deep into the woods. These canals allow them to float heavy timber that they could never drag over rough ground. The transformation is dramatic. A rushing stream has become a placid pond, a new world created by a rodent. With the water level stable, construction begins on the lodge, an island fortress safe from land predators. The genius of the lodge lies in its entrance. Accessible only underwater, it is impenetrable to wolves and bears.
Inside, a raised platform remains dry and warm, insulated by thick walls of mud and stick.
They leave a small gap at the very top for ventilation, allowing fresh air in while trapping body heat.
This is the refrigerator, a larder of branches stored underwater to provide fresh bark throughout the freezing winter. Waterproofing requires maintenance. They spread natural oils from a gland across their fur to stay dry. A specialized split claw on the hindfoot acts as a built-in comb to align their dense underfur. Nature is relentless, and storms test the engineering. A breach during a storm requires emergency repairs. Ignoring the weather, the beaver works frantically to plug the hole before the pond drains away. The crisis is averted and the water level remains high, protecting the lodge entrance from exposure. Waterfowl are the first to arrive, finding safety and food in the calm, protected waters of the pond.
This is why we call the beaver a keystone species. By building a home for themselves, they build a universe for everyone else.
The submerged branches of the food cache and fallen trees create the perfect nursery for young fish.
With the fish come the predators. Herons and kingfishers stalk the shallows created by the dam. Frogs and salamanders thrive here, their populations exploding in the slow-moving, nutrient-rich water. The still water breeds insects, which in turn feed the birds, bats, and amphibians in a complex web of life.
The trees drowned by the rising water do not go to waste, they become standing hotels for other species.
Woodpeckers and owls nest in the softening wood of these snags, safe from predators that cannot swim.
Even giants like the moose rely on beaver ponds, feeding on the nutrient-dense aquatic vegetation.
The dam acts as a giant filter, trapping silt and pollutants, cleaning the water before it continues downstream.
By holding water on the land longer, beavers recharge underground aquifers, fighting drought in the surrounding forest.
In an era of wildfires, these wet, green corridors act as natural fire breaks, providing refuge for fleeing animals. As autumn arrives, the instinct to build shifts to an instinct to hoard. The long winter is coming.
The underwater food cache must be large enough to sustain the entire family for months under the ice.
A final layer of mud is applied to the lodge. When this freezes, it will become as hard as concrete. The temperature drops, and the fluid world of the beaver begins to solidify into a prison of ice. The pond is sealed. Above the ice, the world is hostile and cold. Below, life continues in slow motion. In the quiet darkness beneath the ice, the beaver swims from the lodge to the food cache in safety. They strip the nutritious bark in the comfort of their home, discarding the white, peeled sticks afterwards. A wolf patrols the roof of their home, smelling the prey inside but unable to claw through the frozen mud walls. Their dense fur traps air, keeping them warm and adding buoyancy as they navigate their liquid winter world. As spring sun melts the ice, the beavers emerge to inspect the damage winter has done to their kingdom. The cycle of maintenance begins again. Ice flows may have damaged the dam, requiring immediate attention. Spring brings new life. A litter of kits is born, future engineers who will learn the craft from their parents. They are born with the instinct to swim, but they still need a gentle push to trust the water.
As the ecosystem fills, the older siblings must leave to find their own territory and start their own colonies.
This is the most dangerous time in a beaver's life, traveling miles of hostile terrain to find a new stream.
Upon finding a suitable site, the ancient genetic code activates, and the first tree of a new dam is felled.
When food runs out, beavers move on, leaving their dams to breach and the ponds to drain. But the story doesn't end. The nutrient-rich mud creates a beaver meadow, the most fertile land in the forest. These meadows become prime grazing grounds, continuing to support wildlife long after the engineers have left. Eventually, the forest reclaims the meadow, richer and stronger than before, completing the cycle.
Their relentless engineering sometimes clashes with ours, as they try to dam culverts and flood roads.
But innovative solutions allow us to coexist, preserving the wetlands while protecting our infrastructure.
In a warming world, beavers are becoming climate heroes, keeping water on the landscape when it is needed most.
They communicate ownership through scent mounds, distinct chemical signatures that say, "This valley is taken." Their front paws are incredibly dexterous, able to rotate objects and perform delicate tasks despite their size.
A colony is a tight-knit unit. a cooperative workforce dedicated to the survival of the group.
Their work never truly stops. They are the tireless shapers of the continent's waterways. What looks like a pile of sticks is actually a sophisticated hydrological control system, a masterpiece of nature.
They have been engineering the Earth for millions of years, long before humans laid the first brick.
We often think of ourselves as the only builders on this planet, but the beaver reminds us that we are not the only ones capable of changing the world.